Hey there, and welcome! Today, we are going to break down a super simple but seriously powerful teaching strategy, one that can totally transform your classroom. It's called Think, Pair, Share. Okay, let's paint a picture. You've just strapped up explaining a really important concept, right? You ask this brilliant, thoughtful question, and you're thinking, okay, this is it. This is going to spark an amazing discussion. And then, nothing. Just crickets. Absolute silence. Or, you get the same two kids raising their hands like they always do. It's so frustrating, isn't it? We've all been there. Well, that sound of silence, it's actually a huge barrier to learning in so many classrooms. But what if I told you there's a simple little trick to get every single student thinking, talking, and actually learning? And it only takes a couple of minutes. Well, that's where this three-step solution comes in. It's a real powerhouse, and it's called Think, Pair, Share. So what is this thing exactly? Well, Think, Pair, Share is what we call a cooperative learning strategy. It's actually been around for a while. It was developed way back in 1981 by a guy named Frank Lyman. And its whole job, its entire purpose, is to give a really clear, super easy structure for classroom discussions. And the best part, the name literally tells you everything you need to know. It's like a little 3-act play for learning. First, the think step. Students just think by themselves about a question you've asked. Then, step 2, they pair up with a partner and talk about their ideas. And finally, the share step. The pairs share what they talked about with the whole class. See? So simple. Okay, so it sounds simple, but why is it so incredibly effective? Let's dig into the science behind why this actually works so well for student engagement. It really boils down to 4 main reasons. First, it promotes active thinking. Second, it reduces that fear of speaking up. Third, it encourages equity in the classroom. And finally, it helps develop some really important communication skills. Let's break each one of those down. Okay, first up, promoting active thinking. That initial think phase is absolutely critical. See, instead of just blurting out the first thing that comes to mind, students get dedicated, silent time to actually process the question and come up with their own thoughts. This is not dead time, not at all. It's essential brain processing time. And hey, this isn't just a good idea. It's backed by research. Studies by an educator named Mary Budd Rowe found that just increasing that wait time, that silent thinking time, dramatically improves not just the quality, but also the length of student answers. It really works. All right, number 2, it reduces fear. Come on, let's be real. Speaking up in front of a whole class, that's scary for almost anyone, especially for a student who's maybe a little unsure of their answer. That pair step, though, it's like a low-stakes dress rehearsal. They get to test out their idea on just one other person. That builds a ton of confidence before they even think about sharing with the whole group. And this leads right into what might be my favorite benefit of all. It encourages equity. You know how it is in a typical classroom, right? You often have a few really confident students who kind of dominate the whole conversation. Well, Think, Pair, Share completely flips that script because everyone has to think and everyone has to talk to a partner. It makes sure that every single voice in that room gets heard, not just the loudest ones. It's like what the educational expert Wiliam said, equity isn't about treating students the same. It's about giving every student access to learning. And Think, Pair, Share? It's a perfect practical tool to create that access for every kid. Okay, so we've covered the why. We know why it works so well. Now let's get practical. Here's your step-by-step guide on how to actually do this in your classroom. And to make this super clear, let's walk through a real-world example. Let's imagine you're teaching a 5th grade science class, and your topic for the day is evaporation. Okay, step 1, the think step. Now, this is really important. You can't just ask a simple what is question. You've got to ask a why or how question, a higher order thinking question. Something like, why do you think wet clothes dry faster on a sunny day than on a cloudy day? Then, and you have to be strict about this, you give them 30 to 60 seconds of total silence. No talking, just brains working. All right, then comes the pair step. Students turn to their partner. Their job now is to compare what they were thinking, talk it out, and see if they can build an even better answer together. Now, what are you doing during all this? You are not just standing at your desk. You're moving around the room, you're listening in on these conversations. This is pure gold. It's formative assessment happening right in front of you. You're getting a live snapshot of who gets it and who doesn't.
And finally, we hit the share step. This is where you bring everyone back together for the big reveal. But listen up, because there's a really common mistake teachers make right here that can pretty much ruin the whole thing. So we gotta make sure we avoid it.
Whatever you do not ask, so who wants to share their answer? You know why, right? Because you'll just get those same two hands shooting up again. Instead, you have to use random selection. You say something like, okay, I'm going to randomly pick a few pairs to share what they discussed. This is a game changer because it creates accountability. Every single pair knows they might get called on, so they all have to be ready. So you see, when you really get down to it, Think Pair Share isn't just another cute activity to fill 5 minutes. It's a fundamental shift in your mindset as a teacher. It's about moving away from a classroom where the teacher does all the talking to a classroom where the students do all the thinking.
And maybe the absolute best part of all this, you don't need any fancy tech. You don't need to buy any expensive materials. All it takes is you, a good question, and this simple structure. It's just beautifully simple.
So that brings us to the final question. And this one isn't for me, it's for you. Now that you've seen how it works and you understand why it's so powerful, the only real question left is, how are you going to use Think Pair Share in your classroom? Seriously, give it a shot. You might be completely amazed at the kinds of conversations that start to happen.